Let's get the party started then. Welcome everybody from all over, from hot weather to cold weather to in between. We want to welcome you. My name is Christine Snyder. I'm going to be with you guys this afternoon for a little bit, as well as Shadena is going to also be presenting with me from Allegheny Family Network here in Pittsburgh. As we're going through just a couple things, I want to let everybody know that as we're going through the presentation, we have PowerPoint slides up and everything. However, some of the information that we're going to be sharing with you is not on the PowerPoint slides, because we also wanted you to get information that is part of the role of being a supervisor, and to also go back to a couple of the questions that were asked prior to our presentation today. So we want everybody to sit back, relax, enjoy, and hope that you get something out of this presentation from us today. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat so that we can answer those for you. We have Dom helping us today. Thank you very much, Dom. We appreciate that. So let's go ahead and get started.
So who are we? We are Allegheny Family Network. We are one of the largest family-run organizations that currently houses the statewide organization, which is the PA Parent and Family Alliance. I think we have some people from our statewide on the call today, so we want to thank you and welcome. We're also nationally recognized as FREDLA members, the state chapter for Federation of Families, as well as the state chapter for the Circle of Parents.
Sorry about that, because I got a little delay because my computer was not working right for me to switch it for you, Shadena. I apologize.
That's okay. I have my slides in front of me.
You're very, very smart with that. Who is Allegheny Family Network? So where do family support partners come from? We come from everywhere. We have corporate America.
Share your screen again, Chris.
Oh, thank you very much. See? We know that Christine has a little bit of technical difficulties when it comes to doing PowerPoint slides and sharing screens. So I do apologize to everybody. So can everybody see it okay? Thumbs up?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So where do we come from? We come from everywhere. We're stay-at-home moms and dads. This might be our first jobs. We come from drug and alcohol. We come from corporate America, from social services, from just about everywhere, technology, customer service, nursing careers. So you guys can all plug in there some of where you come from as well in the chat box if you would like to. That way we make this interactive as well for everybody. Okay, I got to stop share again, Shadena.
Okay, you're fine. So our next slide, we were going to ask you guys, where do you come from today? So we asked a poll question, and I see a lot of you went on and answered the question. We have people here today that are family support partners. We have peer support. We have supervisors. We have providers. Do we have any parents or any grandparents or caregivers with us today? If we do, we welcome you. We all welcome you to the presentation. And in a minute, we're going to tell you a little bit about where Christine and I come from.
As soon as my presentation's not coming up right.
It's not?
Mm-mm.
Ladies, sorry. Background music.
Okay, I got it.
Sorry, it was my daughter. I was going to say, if you wanted to email to me, wanted me to share to make it easy for you too, I could do that.
Okay, I apologize, everybody. Here we go. I figured it out. I figured it out. So here is our families. On the left-hand side, you have my family. It's growing and growing. And the newest little addition is the little guy with the pumpkin, is my grandson, Levi. And what Shadena and I will do is we'll share a little bit about our story of where we were to where we are now. So with my family, my child that was on the very end without the shirt, on the very tall one that was thin there next to the young lady, that is my son Christian. He was my identified child, very young, about 3 years old. It was very difficult because that's when we learned that he had some very strong personality, as well as he had some very unique concerns that we were very worried about. One morning I woke up and out on my floor was a box that had a bunch of knives that were all lined up in a row. He had all kinds of stuff out there. And he said that he was trying to cook for us. He had all the seasonings in a thing, had all the knives out, and it was very concerning with all the knives because he would be very angry at times and frustrated. With working through time with Christian, we found that we had to get him diagnosed because even in school at a very young age, he was not focused on what he was doing. He was here, there, and everywhere, bouncing off the walls, smearing diapers off the walls, putting it wherever, and not even like there was nothing with it. No, not thinking that it was not a bad thing at all. But with Christian, we had some support and we were able to get him treated and diagnosed to be able to find out that he has ADHD, which is, the attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He also has oppositional defiant disorder, as well as a learning disorder. So throughout the time with dealing with Christian, there was a lot of ups and downs, a lot of times where I had to sit on the floor and hold him in basket holds to prevent him from hurting himself or hurting others, because when you said no, he became very upset, very frustrated, and he would rock back and forth. He would hit me in the face, hit me in the head, whatever he could, even whenever I was trying to calm him down and hold him. The therapist that worked with him in the home and everything switched time and time again. I didn't know where to turn, who to go to, or anything like that. As time went on with Christian and getting into school was very difficult because I didn't know where to go, what to do. I was frustrated. I was angry. I was blaming myself. Why is my child like this? Looking back on history, because with myself, I myself struggle from some mental health concerns as well. So with Christian, I was able to get him the help that he needed to jump into that next part with the family support partner piece. I was able to advocate for my son and realize what he needed, as well as my other children, because my children all have mental health diagnosis. My daughter has the
Anxiety.
I apologize. Thank you. She has a lot of anxiety. My other son has a mood disorder as well as depression. And my oldest had adjustment disorder as well with the ADHD. But with my Christian, because of him being the identified child, I was able to learn a lot because I myself had family support partner who also encouraged me that I was being able to help my family as well as help others, and put me in that that ended up me being in that family support role where I had the passion for others and I wanted to help others. And she's seen that in me. So that is how I became a family support partner, to where I am now a supervisor and a coach, because of taking the additional steps to be able to learn and grow and be able to do what I needed to do to be able to help not just other family members, but also help other family support partners that now are helping families. Shadena?
Thanks, Christine. I love your story. So I am Shadena Higgins. I am a mother of 2 children that both have mental health diagnosis. I have a 12-year-old daughter who is diagnosed with ADHD as well as anxiety. And I also have a 21-year-old son who was diagnosed with autism, ADD, and epilepsy at the age of 6 years old. That 21-year-old is now a junior in college. So needless to say, he's my success story. While raising my son as a single mom at the time, I had to learn how to navigate the education system. I had to learn how to navigate the mental health system with his various diagnoses, to be able to learn how to advocate for him and what his needs were. In doing that, that's what led me to Allegheny Family Network, where in 2013, I was hired on as a full-time family support partner. And shortly after that, I'll say within 2.5 to 3 years after that, I was promoted as a supervisor. And now I supervise over 2 teams in our agency. Short and sweet.
And I wish I could be that way. Okay, okay, here we go. I took my face off so that you could share your, there we go. I got it back. Yay. I'm learning, everybody. I'm learning. So with both of our journeys, as far as for Shadena and myself, our children are older now, which is amazing, and how they grow, and they both are doing amazing jobs, as I must say, just from seeing both boys from so young to now, it makes you cry because it's like we're getting old, but they're growing up. So I want to take you guys on a little journey, and I want you to think about an interview that you've had. I know one of the poll questions that we sent out was about thinking about your most recent interview. What was that like for you guys? Think about it. You know, were you anxious? Were you happy? Were you excited? You know, were you very nervous about it? And what did you have to complete? Were there any documents, like any pre-interview questions that you had to do, anything like that? So think about those types of things as you're thinking about those interviews that you've been on. And what was going through your mind during that, through your mind when you were in that interview? Because what we're going to be sharing with you today has a lot of information, but it also relates back to how we're able to identify family support partners that are going to encourage families and offer that hope to families.
So the first thing that we're going to talk about is what it means to hire a family member and some of the benefits and the characteristics of that. We know that hiring a family member, they have first-hand knowledge, lived experience. They're able to sympathize and empathize with families. They have knowledge of the communities in which they serve, in the child serving systems as well as the ability to meet families where they are currently. And as well, they're coachable.
And with the characteristics, there's always things that we're looking for when it comes to family members. They have to have the passion to be able to work with other families that are going through lived experiences as well, that we may have been on those similar paths with them, or really struggling as well, and we see the family struggling. So they have to have the passion. The personality and personable, they have to be able to be personable with families. Can they interact well with others and have a good personality? Because we also have to have fun in our role. We're a team player. Everybody on the team has a part. There's nobody that is on their own or has to struggle on their own. We all come together as a team to do our part as far as with families and working with them. Being non-judgmental across the board as family members, as supervisors, as family support, we all have to be, we have to look at the non-judgment going into families' homes and working with family support partners. The willingness to learn and share their gift and or craft. What knowledge do they have that they can share with others, and what do they have that they can give to families that will offer that hope for the families?
So what is different? So we asked you how you felt about your first interview process. So now let's talk about what's different about AFN and how we do our interview process. We have our interviewees talk about their personal experiences and give us a little glimpse of what we call their personal story. So at the beginning, when Christine and I talked to you a little bit about where we come from and how we are parents of children with mental health, that's what we asked our interviewees to discuss with us. And what that does is it allows us to, one, figure out if they're a family member or not, because you must be a family member in order to qualify for one of our positions at Allegheny Family Network. But it also allows us to, we'll be able to feel and see the compassion and the actual passion and emotion that a person has when they talk about their children or their journey. And it's okay that sometimes they may even cry, and it's okay to allow those emotions to flow. It definitely shows us the passion that they have for the work that they are about to embark upon.
We also have a 3-step interviewing process for the possible family support partner. The first interview is always with the supervisors. We make sure that there's a mixture of the supervisors that are either hiring or can support in the interview, as well as the second interview. So after the possible interviewee comes back we look at them if we want them for a second interview. With the second interview, give me 1 second. We have a question.
Yeah, I thought I'd break in. Michelle had a question. She's asking, can you tell me more about the benefit of being coachable? Is that a needed characteristic? Or have you found this is something generally true of those family members?
So we'll go back to the other screen so that we are on where we need to be at. So the benefit of being coachable with being a family support partner and in anybody's role, no matter where you work or how you work in a lot of different agencies and stuff, because sometimes not being in a family run organization, there's still family members that are going to be in that role of the family support partner or the peer support. So being coachable would be across the board, because if it's somebody that you cannot be able to talk with and be able to say, hey, I see that this is what you're saying, you might want to switch it to maybe this, because some of the situations that we all know when we deal with families, it can be a very sensitive situation. So we want to make sure that when we're working with family support partners, that they're able to hear what we're saying with them, to be able to take it to their families. So being coachable is very important, and it offers that benefit of being able to learn and grow and not feel like you're being targeted or things like that. Do you want to add to that, Shadena?
Yeah, also, and I think it's very important to be coachable because we don't know everything. That's the benefit of working in a family-run organization. We all come from different backgrounds. We all have had different experiences. So being able to be coached in an area that I might not be familiar in, but you may be familiar in, is definitely a trait that you want to be able to have. Remember, we don't know everything, and we can all learn. Someone told me that it's best to learn something new every day, and being coachable, you can do that.
Does that answer Michelle's question? I'll take that as absolutely. It is a trait that we want in a family member. Okay.
I can actually give her an example. I was interviewed for a family support partner twice. The first time I interviewed for the position, I wasn't hired. I, in my own mind, thought I knew everything. I had all the experience. I was already helping people, but there was something that I was lacking. You know, we call it, are you too green? Am I ready to embark in this journey? And I wasn't hired the first time. And it took me about another year or so to kind of think about how I was doing things and my mindset. And then when I interviewed again, I hit it right on the mark and I was hired. So being coachable, you have to be able to be willing to want to learn.
To be willing to learn and grow. And it's sometimes, you know, when a family member comes in to do the role of the family support partner, sometimes it's not a matter of them not even being too green, but sometimes it's a matter of that their story is so much right now that they still have some things that might have to be worked out to come back and be able to interview again and do better. Like Shadena was saying back at the beginning, as far as the crying piece, because we do cry, you know, even now there's times that we cry when we share our stories, or, you know, the emotions flow all the time. But being able to share that, being able to be coached and grow is a huge thing. She said, I see the value just with, okay. It is definitely a benefit, but also a characteristic, because we definitely want people that want to grow and learn. So sometimes those benefits and characteristics are interchangeable when working to be able to work with families.
And yes, Tammy, our CEO does cry. So now we're going to move on to the role of a supervisor.
Well, we're still on the what is different. Sorry, Shadena, because we had that question come out. So I wanted to answer that before we got into this. So the final part for our interviewing 3-step process, the second interview that we do is always with family members. We have some family members that are able to be part of the interview process, because it's very important that whoever we are bringing in is able to work with families. And we take the input from the family members that are part of this interview process to make sure that they feel that this person can relate with them, can interact with them, and that they would be even welcoming of that person in the home. And then once we have that interview, if we decide that we really want to bring this person on because they've done really great with their interview, we really want them, we know that they'll fit our team and stuff, we do what's called a personal meeting with them for that potential hire. And that's just going over a little bit more detail about the program, about our agency, about expectations and things like that, because sometimes they can go through those interviews and still we have a couple questions. So we clarify those questions and make sure that this is a good fit. But as we go on, we'll also talk about situations too, because in our interviewing process, we have real life scenario questions, because we want to know how somebody would react and interact if these came about in different situations.
Now we move into the role of a supervisor. As a supervisor, we need to be aware of the impact that the relationship that we have has on our staff's ability to develop further, because relationships are the foundation of success. So one of the things that we like to do is we talk to our staff. We have open door policies. So we'll see staff in the hall and we make it a point to ask staff, how are they doing? How are their family? We're trying to establish a relationship of trust to get them to be able to talk to us and have open forms of communication.
And we also have the different varying factors that are considered when we're to develop and maintain a trusting relationship and healthy interactions with our staff. I will say that for me, supervising has been amazing. I love it. I always went to school I did go to school for a short time to be a teacher, but through the time and through my journey of being able to become a supervisor and a coach, at Allegheny Family Network for the program that I oversee, it was a long road, but it was beneficial because it really helped me grow. So in helping grow, we really look at allowing for our staff when we're meeting with them to have a safe space, to be able to bring their thoughts out, to be able to explore feelings, talk about their beliefs, reflect on things. And we try to stay engaged in the process and listening without interruption with our staff. It's something that we learn a lot about as far as what we call some might know the soul skills or soul, where everybody has a little bit of everything. And that's the silent observation, understanding, and listening. As supervisors, for Shadena and I, we've been in the role of the family support partner. So we have been able to, we know how it is to be a family support partner, but we don't know it all because things are always changing. But we're able to be silent so that we can hear what our staff are saying to us. Then we observe the body language, we observe the surrounding areas, what's going on with them. We try to hear what's going on with them in the words that they're using. Also understanding, because some of the times we don't understand everything that they're saying. So we're going to be asking questions to make sure we hear them. And asking questions don't always give the answer, but it gives that room and ability to let them know that we're listening to them and that we're also growing. And it's very important to look at the environment when we're supervising occurs for the family support partners, to make sure that they have a safe space and that we're interacting appropriately. For me, it took me a minute because with my office, I have a window that people would come right to my window. And if I'm in a meeting or supervision with one of my staff, I'll be like, okay, let that person come in. So what I started doing was I got curtains up on that window, and I have signs on my door so that people know that I'm in a supervision and that I'm not available right now. But they have other ways, like Shadena was saying, that we have the open door policy. So that gave the other ways of them still being able to get a hold of me if it was an emergency or truly needed. Anything else to add, Shadena?
Yeah, we also talk about our environments of our office, also we have little trinkets on our desk. We have there are like rubbing stones that have motivational words on them so that the staff can feel relaxed when we're doing our supervisions. We have it's a toy. You remember the toy that you put your hand in, and it has all the pins in it, and you'll see the impression of your hand, things like that, just to sit on our desk so that it kind of takes the edge off, and it makes them feel comfortable and relaxed enough to want to talk to us.
And we're also, as supervisors, we share some, because we're a family-run organization, that our stories sometimes are shared as well. And we also don't want, we don't want our staff going out of the supervisions that we have with them with other like where they're really upset and stuff, which we'll talk more about. Okay, there we go.
So clinical versus reflective supervision. So, in the traditional clinical world, that supervision process is a little different. They review cases. We call our cases families. So that's very important in the world of family support. But in clinical supervision, they're just reviewing cases. They're doing diagnosis impressions. They're going over treatment planning and reviewing the clinical progress of the families. There's no real, there's no personality in that process compared to reflective supervision.
So with our supervisions, we have, for the reflective supervision, there's that piece of that trust, building that relationship with our staff and with the family support partners. We also have the encouragement. We want to encourage, and that helps when we encourage our staff. It also helps for them to be able to explore different ideas different thoughts and want to grow when they're working with the families. Also, we're asking questions to explore the therapeutic pieces that might be occurring, because even though we're not a therapist, we offer, for me, I'm not a therapist. But it offers that therapeutic piece, like Shadena was saying, having the different things, to the different swag or whatever, not swag, but the toys that you want to use in those settings so that they feel safe. So it does offer that therapy piece for them. And examining how the emotions are and the reactions and the impact that it has on the staff when we're meeting with them for the supervisions. The emotions, the reactions, and how that has that impact. We also have that reflective process. So we're looking at development. We're looking at being able to grow and learn for future use, as well as the supervisors act as a guide during our supervisions with our staff. So we're not directly controlling the supervision. We're allowing for our staff to sometimes take control of those supervisions when they need that, because working with families and having their own personal stories and dealings with sometimes can be overwhelming. So we combine the two of the clinical and reflective supervision together for the family members, as you'll see further in. You want to add anything? Any questions at this time? Okay, Shadena. The attributes and pitfalls.
Attributes and pitfalls. So some of the attributes to reflective supervision is it creates an open and honest communication between staff and the supervisor. It opens the staff to discuss positive situations as well as areas of concern. We are careful that our responses are respectful and non-judgmental when giving feedback to our staff, and feedback is given as needed. There are times when sometimes we need our staff to think outside of the box or maybe problem solve for themselves, so we don't rush to jump in with a judgment or a problem solving solution for our staff.
And then for the pitfalls, which, you know, there's always some things that can go wrong with things, but having that limited ability to reflect on things. So as a supervisor, we have to be able to see that and be able to coach on it and help our family support partners in that piece of it, to help them think reflectively. Also the modeling of it with the skills and asking questions to promote the growth of being reflective in their thinking. The cultural differences, you know, with the cultural differences, that's huge, especially when we deal with each other as well as the families that we serve, because there's so many different cultures to know, to understand, to learn. So that could sometimes become a pitfall for the supervisors and the family support partners. Also, we have to be able to look at our own beliefs and who we are. Like Shadena was talking about with the attribute of the non-judgment. We need to be able to do that, but sometimes we put our judgment into things without even realizing it. So that can sometimes become a pitfall for the reflective supervision, because we want to be able, we're about fixing things as a person in life, but as a supervisor, we have to look at that and be able to say, you know what, this time I can't fix it. I have to help them learn and grow to be able to fix it. I know that I have a staff member, and when I work with her, because of knowing her different learning styles and learning who she is, and being able to personally learn about your staff really helps, because then that also helps to help them grow in their role as a family support partner. So instead of going right to the solution, asking that additional question, and sometimes she'll look like, okay, but then it opens the mind and really gets them thinking about the outcomes and different things that are going on. But also with that, I'm respecting her in what she believes in and with her, who she is as a person.
Professional development. At AFN, we offer many in-house trainings. We have a training department, and we have our trainings that are mandatory versus voluntary. And we do that for many different reasons. In addition to having trainings that are mandatory, we also encourage our staff to seek opportunities elsewhere outside of the organization. This was really big with COVID, with everyone learning online. We would ask our staff if there were any trainings, outside trainings or webinars that they would be interested in, that they'd be able to participate in for their learning of, enhancing their skills. We also have certifications that our family support partners can achieve, and they are the strength-based family worker. That is through Temple University. In addition to that, there is the leadership strength-based worker through Temple University that many of our supervisors take. We're also credentialed in high fidelity wraparound and the family peer support specialist.
And with the high fidelity, look, it's one of the programs I have, and I can't even say it right, huh? The high fidelity wraparound, that's specific to the joint planning team program that we have at AFN, that has a specific 5-day team training. But even with that, we utilize a lot that we learn in the high fidelity wraparound role that goes into our organization as a whole. We do a lot. We really live by the do for, do with, cheer on motto throughout the agency. Even with families, we say that we don't want to do for a family what they can do for themselves. When it comes to our staff, we don't want to do for them what they can do, but we want them to grow and learn. It's always a learning factor. I know for myself, I was a family support partner, and my supervisor always came into me and would say, well, what do you want to do moving forward? And I'm like, what do you mean? And what do I want to do? I want to be a family support partner and help people. She's like, no, you don't want to retire from being a family support partner. What other things do you want? And it's because she knew me as a person and how I strive to learn more and grow, because I'm always about wanting to grow and learn. So I was able to take a different step and take a different path to be able to leave AFN and go learn more, working with becoming a coach, to come back to be able to then train in the high fidelity wraparound process, to be able to be a trainer for that, as well as become a coach for the family support partners at AFN, to coach them and train them on on just one of the programs. And then with the family peer support specialist, we all go through that training at our organization, because it's something else that we look at, to being able to grow, because at AFN, we also have a second level family support partner, to where they're able to be more of a leader. And that's where some of that growth comes into place, to build them up to be those leaders, because we're always wanting our family support partners to grow, learn, and take it further for themselves. Some of the tools that we have that we'll go over with you guys today are our Supervision Form, our Professional Development Plan, or our PDP, the Family Activity Tracking Tool, which is thanks to Shadena on that one, which she'll go over that with us, as well as an evaluation form to really help with retention at 90-day in our yearly performances for family support partners. Do we have any questions before we go on? Okay, we're good.
I think we're good.
Okay. So you may ask, why do we create the tools, right? So with learning, as Shadena said, we don't know everything. We're always growing. We're always learning, no matter how old, how young, how indifferent we are. So we really take into consideration the listening of our staff. Listen to other supervisors. We have a great group of leadership at AFN that work together, that constantly are working on communicating with one another, building on each other, growing with one another, reflecting on our struggles as family support, as well as learning from our mistakes. And that's the biggest thing, is that we're always learning from our mistakes. What have we done in the past? Been reactive, of saying, okay, this is what happened. Now, what do we have to do? But now we're being proactive because we really want to look at what is going on, what has not worked for us, and what will work, what will make things easier for our staff. So based on past experiences and looking now, we try to be, and this is a hint for everybody, be proactive instead of reactive. So instead of reacting to situations and stuff, look at situations that have occurred within your organization, or talk to other organizations and say, hey, what tools do you have that might be able to help us so that we don't have this struggle moving forward? Because that can always help too. That way you're being proactive instead of reactive. Shadena, you have anything to add to that?
Not for this slide. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ready to start digging in and looking at some of these forms. So one of the first forms that we're going to look at today is going to be our supervision form. You want to pop that one up, Christine?
Sure. Oh, I thought my computer was going to stop there for a minute.
So what you're going to see here is the form that was developed by one of our own, at the time, one of our own supervisors. And the reason why we use this form is because we're a strength-based organization. So what you'll see on this form is one of the things we focus on is a starting time and an ending time. We want to make sure that we're being conscious of the time so that staff aren't in our office all day long when they can be doing something else with their time. So we always have a starting time and an ending time, and staff typically know the time of their supervision in advance because they're scheduled at the end of every supervision, and we typically try to meet with our staff twice a month or bi-weekly. The most important thing of this form is we talk about the celebrations or successes, as we like to call them. Those celebrations can be personal, they could be professional, or they can be with the families that the FSP serves themselves. So for instance, I have a staff who her daughter got all straight A's in her first year of high school. You know, for them, because that's what's important to her right now, that's what we wanted to highlight. And it also helps us because sometimes you'll come into a supervision and you can tell that the staff aren't feeling up to speed, or they're kind of sad. And so we kind of want to open the door with something positive instead of something negative. The next section that we go into is where we will talk about all of the families. As a supervisor, every one of my staff, I'm responsible for all of their families, and how I know what's going on is from this supervision form. So we'll go over each family that may be on their caseload. We talk about the outcomes, any plan updates that need to be made, any suggestions that need to be made. And that's a good spot where we'll give our feedback, because maybe we're stuck. Maybe there's a FSP who they have a family that they don't know how to help, and they've tried everything, but they just need a little extra guidance. And so that's what the section is for us to go over for all of the families.
Shadena, can you see the slide?
I can see the form, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Next, we have the binder review. So as of right now, we are still using a paper binder. So we want to make sure that our binders are compliant when we get audited. So we asked our staff to bring in a binder, preferably 2, no more than 3 binders each time. And we kind of go over making sure that all the necessary documentation is in that binder, and all family plans, releases, and things like that are signed. We also then get into the more specifics, where we talk about calendars. Are their calendars updated? Accountability is something that we really value in our agency. So we use our calendars and our schedules as a way to show accountability. So we want to make sure that the calendars have been updated. Have they been late on any of their paperwork? Any productivity progress or engagement progress? So that would be sort of like saying, I only did 3 home visits last week, and let's come up with a plan to see how are we going to get more home visits for the next following week. What can I do to meet with more of my families? We also have special projects and support groups. Each one of our staff are often responsible for a support group. And so in the supervision, we kind of go over what the goals are for the support groups and what they may be working on, and if there's any needs or any problems that those groups are having. And down at the bottom, we always want to know how things are going with their peers. So are they having any issues with any of the staff, any of the partners that they work with? So any issues with other partnering agencies, anyone on the parents' teams that we may be having some obstacles with that we just need to discuss. That's a time for us to discuss that, as well as we always want to talk about whatever the staff's concerns are. So when we notice that there may be things going on with the staff, it may not have anything to do with their job per se, but it's affecting them. We want to talk about what those concerns are and give them an outlet. Those are areas sometimes where we refer to our employee assistance program. Sometimes we direct them to talk to HR. Sometimes it's just saying, you know what, you need to take some PTO, and we encourage you to do your self-care and take some time off. The other important thing about this form to note is that if there's ever any issues or any concerns that the supervisor has, the staff will always be aware of those concerns, and they'll be aware of it through this supervision form. One of the most important questions that we also talk about towards the end of our supervision, before we always end, we ask them, how did supervision go this week? You know, was it a good interaction? Did you get some good positive feedback? Was it a crappy supervision? And that's okay. And what do they need from us in the future? And then we go ahead and we schedule our next supervision so that they'll know in advance and that can be put on their schedule.
So with the supervision form, it really helps us and guides us when we're doing supervisions with our staff, because I'm sure you all can see how it incorporates the clinical pieces with the families as well as the reflective pieces, because even as we're talking to them about their families and what is going on with them, this is information that they're giving us that we're not reading about in their contact notes, in their progress notes and stuff. And it's helping them. We're going to ask them different questions so that they can learn and grow from that and think about different things in a different way. Shadena was talking about the celebrations. That is so important, because if you have somebody coming into your office to do a supervision and there's something going on with them to where they can't even give you celebrations, that is a opportunity and a time to say, hey, you know what? Let's stop this right here. Let's look at the bigger picture. Let's look at what's going on, and then we can come back to this. Because we want them, the supervision isn't about badgering them or beating them down or anything like that. It's a time and opportunity for us to find out what's going on, letting them know what's going on at the agency, different things that are going on that they're doing well in, that maybe they do need some coaching on, some things that they may need coaching on. And we always look for opportunity for that growth. So as we were going through this, just looking at it in general, we have a lot of reflective opportunities. And like Shadena also said, that everything that is in this goes on to, it also incorporates into another form that you'll see that we have, which is for the, what do we call it, Shadena?
Our staff evaluations.
Our staff evaluations, yes. Because anything that is in our supervisions will ultimately come out on those evaluations so that nobody will ever be surprised. But it also gives that information, and it really helps us to see what we as supervisors need to learn and grow on too. Because if the employee comes in and says, as far as how did supervision go this week, if they say, man, this was too long this week, then we can say, okay, how can we shorten some of it? Or look at why it was so long. Was it because the supervisor was talking too much? Because I'll tell you, sometimes I can talk too much. My staff will tell you. But also at the same time, maybe it wasn't beneficial to them and we value time. But also it gives us an opportunity to see if our staff are taking care of themselves, because we value our staff making sure that they are well. Because if they're not well to take care of themselves and their families, then they're not well enough to take care of others. And if they're not taking time for themselves to be happy and to grow and to learn, we're not going to have anybody learning and growing, no matter what agency we're in or where we go with it. Any questions on this form?
We got a lot of comments. A lot of people feel that this is useful. It's a good method for obtaining data of the role of the family component. A lot of you'll be able to get clarity from the form. So we got a lot of positive comments on that. Thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome. Uh-oh, I gotta click on the form before I can go to, oh, wait a minute. That's right.
Click on the tab at the top.
Yeah, I gotta move us first. Did it come down?
Nope, one more.
Oh boy. Okay. Let me stop sharing for a second. I apologize. A brief intermission. Because where it's showing, I don't want to hang up the screen.
Oh, okay.
And I think that's what I did. No, I didn't. Okay.
Isn't this fun?
Sorry, everybody.
We're not nervous at all. You guys are doing great. Thank you.
Okay, here we go. Okay, can everybody see the screen again?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so the next one that we're going to talk about is the professional development plan, or the monthly professional development plan. So when family support partners come on to as a family support partner, we do these on a monthly basis because it's very beneficial in learning about the staff, growing with the staff, finding out what their learning style is, what their strengths are, and their needs are. But in my program specifically, this is part of the criteria of what we have to do with our staff on a monthly basis. So with this form, what we do is we have the date and the date of the next plan. Because of it being a monthly, we typically use it at least every 30 days. We update it. And again, on this form, we have the accomplishments of the work, we call them the workforce in high fidelity wraparound, but of the staff in that 30-day time frame, what have they accomplished? And it's not just looking from the staff side, it's also looking at the supervisor side. Because if we don't see good that our staff have been doing over that 30 days, then how are we implementing or helping grow or really help with those the positive or the strengths of our staff? Another thing is down here, the area of the skill sets. So we're looking at what is their objective and what is their goal to be able to be achieved. We look at the strengths and the needs of our staff across the board, as well as the learning style. There's so many different learning styles. We actually complete what's called a memletics for our staff so that we know what kind of learner they are. So anytime going back to the trainings that Shadena was talking about or anything like that, that we're able to catch them on all levels so that everybody's learning something, because everybody's time is valuable. But we also ask them about their strengths and their needs in what they're doing at that specific time, whatever their goal may be. For high fidelity wraparound for the joint planning team in my program, one of the first ones may be to get through the 5-day team training. which is really important because then there's action steps that have to be taken for the family support partner to be able to be successful. We try to limit the monthly professional development plan to 2 objectives and goals, because we don't want it to be so overwhelming for them that they're not accomplishing or achieving. This is about baby steps in achieving and being successful, than not being successful. Because then we have to look at us as a supervisor as far as what are we doing wrong that they're not being successful. So we look at this very much so. We go over it with them each and every time. We can add from it, take away from it, but it's something that we use as a tool to help our staff be able to learn and grow. Anything to add to this, Shadena?
Also, I would like, it just made me think a component of this is done every time we do our supervisions. So there was a section on the supervision form where we'll ask about those professional development plans and goals for our staff. A lot of times it's, do they need to do additional training, things like that. So we actually incorporate this more often than monthly.
Okay, now I have to close out of this one. Any questions on this one? Okay. So I have to,
Yeah, X out of this one and then just.
there we go. I have to move everybody in order to get to it, unfortunately.
There we go. Now we're going to take a look at the family activity tracking tool. This tool was created by myself, actually. For one of the reasons why this form was created, because we know that many of our FSPs come from various professions. Many of them have never written a case or progress note. So one of my projects was to come up with an easier way for them to be able to do so. So I created this tracking form, which is a tool. They have the option to use it or they don't have to use it. It's just a guide to help them create a case note that is efficient and gives us all the details that we need. The form was created to help staff write a well-constructed case note that includes all the pertinent information that's needed to be documented. This tool can be used in the field with staff, with the families, or it can be used behind the scenes. It guides them through important questions that they need to answer. For instance, who was present during this activity? Where did the activity take place? And you know, for those of you guys that are in the billable world, certain information has to be documented in the case note in order for you to be able to bill for that activity. So this is where this form was created from. A lot of our staff use it when they come back to the office as their guide to help them write an effective, efficient case note. Anything you want to add to that, Chris?
Thanks. I had to unmute myself.
That's okay.
I mean, you definitely had it covered there. And you know, what makes it really nice is even my staff, although they have specific criteria that they have to meet in the process that they do, they also utilize this because they find it very easy to be able to pull this out and be able to document things, but they can also leave this with the family if there's any new goals that the family wants to work on. So again, this is another tool that is very effective for our family support partners. We heard them. Shadena was awesome in developing this for one of the trainings that she was in for the strength-based leadership. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did.
Any questions on the activity tracking tool? Okay. So again, I gotta go out of that. Okay, Shadena, I'm gonna let you share for the evaluation. So now we're gonna talk a little bit about the evaluation form that we have that we do at a 90-day and at transition, or not at 90-day to see if we're going to keep the family support partner that is currently there, or if it's not the best fit for them. But also we use these at our yearly evaluations. And remember, going back to our supervision form, anything that is on this form will never be should never be a surprise to the family support partner, because it's things that we have talked about them throughout the year in their supervisions. And also another thing, while we're getting it pulled up and stuff, is that even though, because we all know that we've been through with COVID, where some people were working from home and stuff like that. Some people still had to go out into the community and everything. But even with all the forms that we have, we still can complete them and send them to be able to sign and have for their documentation as well. So anything that we have is utilized, whether we're in our office or we're at home working from home or in the community or anything. So this is our AFM, we call it the Performance Appraisal. There's been a lot of work in this and and still continue to work on it, because we always want to look at what's going well, what can we improve and grow from. So we have on this, we'll always have the name, the date, the job title, the supervisor. We also have an opportunity for the staff to do a self-appraisal before coming in to do this. Again, the appraisal period shows the time period that it is. So we do it at 90 days for that retention piece, but we do also have this for our yearly evaluations so that we know where our staff are and the staff know where they're at. So, and it also helps to possibly look at things that the staff can grow on throughout the following year as they work in AFN. But the progressing, so on here, you'll see that we have exceeds expectations, meets, progressing, and below expectations. The progressing expectations is something that we utilize within that first 90 days, because we know that they're learning the role, they're learning about what they are supposed to do as family support, they're learning about the agency, they're learning about the teams, they're learning about everything. So there's going to be a lot of times where they'll get that progressing expectations. But as they're there more often and things are going well and they're timely with their paperwork, they're timely with different things, then that's where they'll be meeting expectations, which means that they're doing their job as they're supposed to, and then exceeds expectations on some things that we can do exceeds expectations because they're going above and beyond their role of family support. So we have a major section of what their role and responsibilities are. And there's also opportunity to do examples and comments so that they see where we see that they're doing well in, because sometimes we even get busy to say, you know what, you're doing a really good job. But that gives that opportunity to be able to put those in there, as well as the staff, the family support partners or peer support can also put give us their comments to put in there. So we're doing this with our staff. We're not filling this out ahead of time and saying, this is what you got. There's no conversation about it, nothing at all. We conversate with our staff and we actually have a guide to help us through it. We're not going to pull it up and go through it all with you guys because we'd be here probably till 6 o'clock. And I know we only have like 20 minutes. So we have managing the job is huge because this is the opportunity to see how the staff are managing the job. Again, conversation we go through, it talks about setting priorities, the quantity versus the quality of work. Are they reaching their goals? Do they have the people and the materials to do that? Are they following through? Because that's huge, from doing the paperwork to working with the families, whether we're billable or not billable, that goes through everything. Are they meeting deadlines? That's another huge one. That's that paperwork piece again. Are they making sure that they get all their documents in on time? Are they up to date on their documents? Goes back to that supervision form. Are they following the policies and procedures? Are they doing everything? So as you can see here, there's a lot on the timely. The paperwork is huge in all that we do, the binders. So you see a lot of this stuff relates back to that supervision form. Then we total it, we average it out, we give examples and comments in each section. And the examples and comments in each section will go to the end of this that we'll show you. With the family interaction, how are they interacting with the families? And we'll know this ahead of time because we also as supervisors do calls to families to see how the family support partner is doing, supporting the family, how the families feel that they are doing as far as, are they on time? Are they respectful? Do they respect boundaries? Is there that boundaries piece? So the family interaction is huge. Are they doing with and cheering on with that philosophy that we have at AFN? Again, the examples and comments. Decision making. Again, those boundaries. Are they setting good boundaries on a personal level as well as a professional level? Because when you think about it, I'll tell you what, city of Pittsburgh is big, but it is small. You run into people that you're working with, but you also run into families in the grocery store and things like that. So we're always talking about the professional boundaries when those things occur. But are they bringing stuff to our attention as supervisors? And then again, we have the examples in the comments. Are they looking at their jobs and doing what they're supposed to as far as their role? Their initiative and attitude, that comes to the office morale. How are they with each other? How are they independently? Do they work one-on-one? COVID was a big place to really show where family support can definitely do their jobs from their home and be, they can set the boundaries, they can work independently, they can work as a team, they can see their families, they have that flexibility and everything with the families. Their willingness to learn, that's that coaching piece. And they have the positive outlook on the agency as well as what we do at the agency on the additional roles and stuff. Again, you have the examples in the comments. The personal development, we're all about growth. So we're looking at if they want to look at where they're growing, are they assessing their personal skills? Do they need to build off of that? What do they need to build off of that? Where do they want to be at? Where do they want to improve at? So this gives that opportunity to see if there's any trainings out there or anything, or to better their employment. Again, the examples and comments, the attendance, because we all know if we're not at work to be able to help families, then how are we going to be able to help the families? So are they ready for work when they're supposed to be? Because we're also teaching families as well with different things with schedules and stuff. So the call off, making sure they're following the policies and procedures of our agency. So that's all incorporated into here. Our calendar, we always talk about our calendar because it's very important to know that our staff are safe and that they're not overbooking, and that because if they're burning out, then let's look at that calendar and see. So are they able to conform to those schedules and calendars? And again, the PTO time, because they can overuse or underuse their PTO, and that would fall into that self-care piece. Examples and comments again. And that all leads us down to, because when we ultimately have this, we have the areas for development. So from all of those comments and areas of the comment section above, in all of the areas, we can pull out from those the development areas as well as the strengths areas from there, and then have additional comments, and that's a conversation. And we give the staff the opportunity to be able to have those additional comments or add to these areas as well. And then we add everything up and we come up with an overall performance for that year, whether it's below, progressing, meets, or exceeds expectations. So they know how they are over the year, and then they sign it and date it, and we sign it and date it, and they always get a copy of it. And then the copy goes into their file.
And I think the most important thing to note is that this is done face-to-face with the staff. Like Christine said, we do not do this ahead of time and just report back. We want this to be a conversation back and forth. We may feel that a staff did something one way, and they may have compelling evidence that they did it the right way, or they had, you know, that we discussed it a different way. And so our scores can change based off of what the staff is saying right in the moment. So that's why it's important to do it face-to-face with the staff.
Are there any questions about the performance evaluation form?
Hi,
Yes.
this is Sophie. I wanted to ask, are these, well, a lot of and I'm sorry, I apologize if I missed this, but some of our PSPs in the state that I'm in, we're embedded in our community mental health agencies. So they're part of their, of that culture, right? Of the hiring, they are staff of the CMHs. Are these forms, which I think are excellent forms, they're really wonderful forms, are they part of just like a family organization? Are they part of the community mental health agencies? Could they be used for both?
So the forms that we have for our evaluations, our yearly appraisals.
Well, the yearly appraisals, you've mentioned a few of them: the professional development plan, the family activity tracking tool, just all of them.
So all the tools that we have, we can incorporate them from within our agency. Some of the things that we have, like the monthly professional development plan, that's something that's used in the high fidelity wraparound process. Like that specific form comes, as you saw on the top, it was from the Youth and Family Training Institute. But we incorporate pieces of that into our supervision form. So the tools and everything, we can definitely ask, I think we did ask our CEO before about being able to share the forms and stuff like that. So I can double check with her and be able to send it over to Kelsey to be able to upload again once we get the okay from our CEO, because I never like to do anything without letting her know first. But we use all of this within our organization. But it can definitely be something that is used in different organizations, because you're right, there's organizations that are within different, where there's peer support and family support that's not within a family run organization, and that might help with those pieces to be able to have some of those tools and everything to be able to help, because some areas are on the clinical aspect, whereas we're trying to be both of it, if that makes any sense.
It does. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. And then as far as the scoring piece, Shadena, can you put your put the thing back up for me? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
So for the scoring piece, as she's getting that back up, so we have the below expectations, progressing expectations, meets and exceeds. So the below expectations is those that are late on their, let's just take an example, late on contact notes, late on getting us their because we do mileage and stuff like that. They're constantly late on their documentation. They're constantly late on this and that. That would score them a below expectation. So when we look at this, we used to have where there was only 3: below, meets, and exceeds. But again, when we have that 90-day, you have that progressing. So the below expectations is a 0. You don't get any, did I say that right? No, I did not say that right. Yeah. 1, I'm sorry. Below expectations is 1, correct, Shadena?
It's 1.
Progressing expectations is 2. Meets expectations is 3, and exceeds expectations. So in each of the areas that we were just talking about, I don't know if I can scroll up or not.
I can scroll up.
Thank you. So in each of the areas, there's individual places, because they may be excelling in one thing and not in another thing. And we use this opportunity to be able to show that and break it down. That's why sometimes you'll hear about like the paperwork and stuff is in a couple different areas, because that is huge within the jobs that they do. So the exceeds expectations, if they're doing this like above and beyond, like they're using the call-off procedures, they're following through with everything, they're doing what they're supposed to do. Some of this stuff will always be a meets expectations, because it's hard to not do it's hard to do in above the meets. So you score each one individually and then add it down. So you get a section total. That's by adding across. So say 24, 10, 5, and 1, you know, we could do that. So we add all those across, and then we divide it by the amount of the numbers that we have. And then whatever we get for that is the average, and we take it down to put down below here. Now, when it comes to the major responsibilities, those are each individual. So they get their each individual score. There's not a combined score for those or an average for those top 5, because we truly feel that their major responsibilities are so important that that should be a huge piece in this. And then the rest of them are the averages. And then we add all those scores together and divide it by
11.
11 to come up with the rating scale of where they fall into place at. And then if your organization is able to do bonuses or like any special things for them, then that's where this would fall into place of if they would be able to get something or not.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it did. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right, Chris, can you
Trying
pop
to
up
see if
our
there's any
video?
other- Yeah, I was trying to see if there was any other questions. What other questions do you have? Because we have about 10 minutes. We do have a video that we wanted to show everybody that was from our mental health conference this past year that we did over virtual, since we were not able to do a big group in person. Is that something that we want to do right now, or are there other questions?
I don't see any other questions coming through right now.
Okay. So let me go back into the sharing. Okay. And this is our CEO, Ruth Fox.
Hi, this
Can
is
everybody
Ruth
hear it?
Fox, CEO of Allegheny. Allegheny Family Network serves families who are involved in all child serving systems, behavioral health, children, youth, and families, education, and juvenile justice. The purpose of Allegheny Family Network is to respect, empower,
The sound just went out.
No, sound's gone, Christine, maybe because you muted yourself. Does that have anything to do with it?
will be sharing pieces of their journey with you.
I'm Maria Silva, the COO at Allegheny Family Network.
I am an AFN Family Support Partner.
I'm an FSP. My name is Roberta D'Angelo, and I am a Family Support Partner.
My name is Shadena Higgins, and I'm a supervisor at AFN.
Hi, I am Tracy Palisado, and I'm a Family Support Partner with PA Parent Family Alliance.
Family Support Partner.
My name is Alexis Noga. I'm a supervisor at Allegheny Family Network.
I'm Kristen Greavy. I work with PA Parent and Family Alliance.
My name is Jean Erickson, and I am on the admin team.
Family Support Partner. I'm one of the supervisors with Allegheny Family Network.
I am a Family Support Partner here with AFN.
An AFN supervisor.
Hi, my name is Christine Snyder. I'm a supervisor at Allegheny Family Network.
Hi, my name is Shauna Copeland. I am a Family Support Partner. Hi, this is Reef.
I'm so sorry. Did we do her already?
Just started from there.
Okay. I was trying to make it bigger on my screen because I saw that it wasn't.
And I have raised a child. They're of 4 and blessed.
I have raised a child.
Raising a child.
And I'm raising 2 children. I have 2 daughters.
Still raising 3 children. I have raised 3 children.
And I am a father of 4 sons.
And I'm raising 3 kids. I am also a mother of 4 children.
And a mom of several children with mental health and behavioral concerns.
Along the way, we have had many challenges. We have chosen to focus on the good.
And we went from despair to hope.
To celebrate all victories, regardless of how minuscule others may think they are. Every day is now a win day. We're winning.
My family has learned to overcome.
So now,
Unconditional love. Every day is a fresh day for us.
This is what my child and I have chosen, perseverance. And we will overcome and triumph over any obstacle that comes our way.
We have chosen to never give up on each other.
My journey started out as fear and now is hope.
Through all the ups and downs, we have chosen to incorporate our faith and focus on our strengths.
We have chosen to thrive and strive to thrive and live life to the fullest.
I have learned to be patient with my sons and seek help.
And each day is a new day for us to look at things differently.
But I've learned to take a plunge, climb the mountain, advocate for my family like I need to.
Through all the ups and downs, we have chosen to work together to write a new life story by changing the pages from ones of weaknesses, struggles, and labels to ones of strengths, triumphs, and succeeding against all odds.
Mental health is not a life sentence. It's just a journey along the way.
At AFN, we help other families thrive through resiliency. Thank you.
Ha, crap. Okay. So that was, okay. Can you
Yep, you're
guys?
sharing. Yep.
So that a video was one that we shared, we did while we were in COVID, everybody working from home and things like that, but it's something that shares what AFN is all about. But this saying that we want to leave you with is leadership is not about being the best. Leadership is about making everyone else better by helping others understand their strengths and unique abilities. So with working with family support partners is helping them be better to understand and using their strengths and unique abilities. So no matter what agency you may supervise, a family support partner, a peer support partner, or however you may say it within our organization, we always are wanting to help one another and better build up our staff so that they are going out and helping families and not being burnt out and being able to be the best that they can be so that they can grow families and help families grow and learn. Any questions for us? What questions do you all have at this point? Because we have like, I guess, 2 minutes, right, Dom?
That's correct. Yep. Good. Actually, I have 3, but.
Okay, go ahead. Did he say that he had 3?
No, we have 3 minutes.
Oh, 3 minutes. Okay, I get what you're saying. Okay, okay. Well,
No, they're just saying thank you so much for a great presentation. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all for attending our presentation today. Shadena's and my information are on this last slide. I almost forgot about it. I do apologize. Here is our email addresses. If you have any other additional questions or anything like that. And like I said, once I talk to our CEO and she approves us to be able to let you guys utilize, to be able to have copies of these, then I will be able to send those to Kelsey. And then you'll be able to get them from there. Or if you want to email us individually, and then we can always have that conversation back and forth, because we're always willing to talk with others. And, you know, if there's anything that we can help with as far as making things better to help with supervising support partners across the states, across the countries, then that's what we're about, you know, is helping one another to bring out the support that is very important when dealing with families. Because without the support with families, I know that I probably would not be in the position that I'm in now. I would probably still be many, many steps backwards and not having anybody around me, and Lord only knows.
Thank you everyone for participating.
Have a good day.